Morning, everyone. Glad you got up early to come see us today. We have a dynamite schedule, and I think you'll have a good time and hopefully be uplifted by all of this. So, a few years ago, whoops, I'm going backwards. Yeah. A few years ago, my wife and I experienced what a lot of parents do, have children, the so-called empty nest. Our daughters sort of grew up, graduated from high school, went off to university. So we were left with this empty nest. Now, it's like somebody had died. Nobody came to see us anymore. Telephone didn't ring anymore, so we were sort of lonely. That didn't last long, by the way, but nevertheless, we were lonely at the time. And my wife said, well, why don't we do something sort of constructive, educational, or something like that. So she said, let's enroll sort of in an evening course. So she picked one. It was a sketching course. Now, I told her, I don't have any talent. I'm an engineer. I can draw a straight line with a straight edge, but that's about it. I have no talent. She said, well, let's just try it. So we went to this evening course, and the teacher stands in front of the class, and he says, okay, all of you know how to draw already. It's that capability you have inside of you. And what we're going to do is release that capability. We're going to use this technique pioneered by Betty Edwards, who wrote the book Drawing from the Right Side of the Brain. And we're going to sort of turn off your left brain and turn on your right brain. Now, about this time, I was thinking, oh gosh, this is going to be one of those California things. Yeah. Before long, we're going to be sitting in a full lotus position, listening to sitar music while these pictures ooze out of our fingertips. But anyhow, I went around, and so she said, first thing I want you to do is get out your sketch pads and draw a picture of me. So, and I hadn't done this since I was 10 years old, because I knew I didn't have any talent. But this was the first drawing I made in that class. Now, I thought that, it's pretty sketchy, right? But not too bad, considering I'd never done this in a long time. So after that, we went through these insane kind of exercises where we would sketch wadded up pieces of paper, and we would take a picture, and I'd try to sketch it, and I look at my sketch, and it was bad, and I predicted that. But then when I turned that upside down and sketched it and turned my drawing right side up, it was pretty good. Wow. So I went through these exercises, and we only went one day a week and for a couple of hours, and I didn't do any practicing in between. And then after about, I think, 4 weeks, the teacher handed me a photograph. She said, now, I want you to draw that, sketch that photograph right side up to begin with. And this is what I sketched. Now, if you told me that first day that I had any capability of sketching, I would say, nonsense, I don't have that talent. It's not in me. But really, what happened was I did have it. I just didn't know it. And it came out. And I think all of us have these incredible hidden talents and hidden powers that we don't know about. And that's what we're trying to do, is release that. So that's my unlocking story. So there's also the linking side. How do we really get on with linking minds? And certainly the ultimate linking is the Vulcan mind meld. But we're not there yet. But we're going to work toward that. And but VR gives us a chance, and AR a chance to bring minds together in an unprecedented way. So the mission of the Virtual World Society is to unlock minds and link hearts. And when we are able to do this, we can really build a better world. And that's what the Virtual World Society is about. Now, if we go back to our Psychology 101, we see that Maslow, with his hierarchy of needs, all of you have seen this before. We have this sort of pyramid of needs. Starting at the bottom, you have to be able to breathe and drink and eat and things like that. Now, but then above that, building on that platform, once we have some safety, that we aren't worried about being eaten by a saber-toothed tiger or something like that, we can then go on to love and belonging and being in a family. And then building upon that to have confidence, self-confidence and self-esteem with this top level of self-actualization, one where we can be all we can be, where we're creative, and these things do ooze out of our fingertips. Now, there's another one, actually another on top of that, which probably is transformation, but we'll talk about that another day. Now, when you look at VR, it turns out that the tools that we build as tool builders can really impact a lot of these levels. As a matter of fact, the levels that go all the way from safety through self-actualization. We probably won't do much with breathing yet, well, although you could do breathing exercises, I guess, but things like that. So we can truly impact this hierarchy of human needs with the tools of our age. Now, one of the things we need to do is ask the question, yeah, we can build all these tools, we can manipulate atoms to build technology, manipulate bits to put in the software and content, but so what? So what? So we need to be asking the questions, what if we could do things? And use those questions and answers those questions to come up with solutions to problems. For example, here are a few of them that we've been addressing. How can we accelerate ability to learn? What if we can expand our senses? How to see, like I did with this particular exercise with drawing. There's so much of our capability we aren't using, and therefore we're losing. But we could bring that back with some new technologies. Improving the healing process, reducing stress, being able to train from the inside out, where you have the virtual expert inside of you instead of outside of you. And then you follow what that virtual expert tells you to do. Being able to capture people who have been lost or abandoned, especially our senior citizens. Pain, we know that VR has a great impact, an analgesic for pain. Combining now what we can do with AI with intelligence amplification. IA is intelligence amplification. And then eventually build the mind now. So, Virtual World Society, what we are is a collection. We're a community. We're a family. What we're trying to do is bring together people who are working in the industry, developers, students, all kinds of resources, and events like this to bring our minds together and figure out what we can do and join together to solve these problems. So there are a number of objectives. We have 12 objectives in the Virtual World Society. Let me just briefly go over these with you. We want to serve as, we are a nonprofit entity. We want to serve as this and providing the humanitarian uses of VR, AR. That's one of the things we like being associated with AWE. We're sort of the humanitarian arm of VR for Good for the AWE. We want to educate the world so that they know that VR can be good. Right now, most people think VR is just a fancy gaming gadget. We want to get the message out there that really this is a new platform, a whole paradigm shift on the way we can educate. Provide a repository, one place, one-stop shop for the knowledge of the world about VR and AR and the way people work in relationship with that. It's not there now, and we want to collect that and bring it together. And provide a council of pioneers to help those who are trying to get started. To provide recognition for people like we did last night, for those who are trying to make the world a better place. We gave the Nextant Prize to Brenda Laurel, and she's an example, along with many others, of doing this pioneering work. We are concerned about the ethics of VR, concerned about the bad side, the dark side. We want to make sure that we provide a sort of a good housekeeping seal of approval of the kind of experience, perhaps, that should be in virtual worlds. And along with that, with a rating. And then you'll hear more about this afternoon, about how we can actually use VR in the homes. Nobody really knows that yet. We know we can do in archives, we can know what we do in conferences like this, but what really happens in the home when you have that? And then the last four, we want to develop relationships with affiliate organizations. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We just want to be an aggregator and a helper, a catalyst for those organizations that currently exist, and sponsor events and like hackathons and so forth. And then finally serve as a touchstone, the nextant, that helps guide where industry should go, especially in doing these things that really do lift mankind. So a number of activities, you'll be hearing about those throughout the day, especially the Learning Living Room, which is close to me, and I think we've pretty much talked about all these. Let me mention what I'm calling the reality stream. If you go into the floor, you'll see this Airstream trailer. And what we will intend to do with that Airstream trailer, if we can pull it off and get the sponsorship, is to drive it all over the USA. And taking the message of VR and education and goodness out into the world. And that's our plan for this coming year. Hopefully, when we come back next year, we'll have all kinds of decals on that thing and where we've been and what we've done. Let me move on and just talk a little bit about our logo. The Virtual World Society logo is, to me, it sort of touches my heart. What you see is an adult lifting a child. And so you have a transgenerational relationship here where the child is trusting in that adult, that parent perhaps, and they're not only being lifted, they're being thrown up into the air. And so when you think about it, there are lots of things going on here. If you notice, the parent or the lifter is looking in one direction, and the child is looking in another direction. And this parent is lifting the child so they can see further. And so the parent is saying to the child, "What do you see?" But I know from my wisdom, this is what I've learned, and I can impart that to you. But you're going to be the future. And what do you see? And I want to lift you so you can see that horizon. So there's a lot embedded in this logo. And that represents the heart of what we're trying to do, I believe. Now, back to the Nextant Prize. The idea of the Nextant is the next sextant. As I mentioned last night in the award ceremony, we really are at a point where we need new navigation tools. The traditional tools that we've used in looking to the horizon and looking to destination doesn't exist anymore. We don't know what the destination is. We really don't. The former tools that we use just don't work. So we have to resort to a new kind of navigation tool, which I call the next sextant, which is the Nextant, and that's our hearts. We have to listen to our hearts and decide what we should be doing and what is good, because we have more power than we think in drawing from our hearts. And we don't need to rely on other people to tell us. We know. Inside we know. And that's what we need to be listening to. And we've now awarded 2 Nextant Prizes. One last year to Randy Pausch, who passed away a few years ago. He was an amazing lifter, and his legacy lives on. And then, of course, Brenda Laurel, whom you saw last night. A marvelous person, and you'll be hearing from her later today. Now, we also have, in addition to the Nextant Prize, an annual prize, what we call the Nextant Medallion. The Nextant Medallion is for recognition of people and the wonderful things they're doing in this community, and these tool buildings and building tools that lift people. And so these medallions will be awarded throughout the year. And we will be telling you about that on our website for the Virtual World Society and so forth. Also, I should mention that all the speakers in this track today will be receiving the medallion for the great work that they're doing. I want to introduce the board members. Those of you who are here, I know Mark is giving a talk somewhere else, but Chris Stapleton, of course, you've met. Allison, is Allison here? She's on her way. Craig, Freddie, Jackie Morey. Thank you, thank you guys. And we're hoping to expand the board to bring in a lot of diversity, not only in ethnicity and gender and all those kind of things, but also globally to bring in folks to work with us on the board. In terms of our membership, we have several hundred members, I believe, that are, I don't know the exact numbers. We have quite a few that have joined up in the last few days. But what our goal is to get to 10,000 members of the Virtual World Society by 2018. And those members who join by this time in 2018 will be called founding members of the Virtual World Society and will be posted on our website. As long as you maintain your membership, you'll be a founding member. But here's our goal. We would like to get to 10 million families 10 years from now. 10 million. That's achievable, especially with the way things are going with viral marketing. and what those families will be using VR in their homes and building living rooms that are classrooms. We're happy that we've been able to partnership with the AWE. And we are looking not only for memberships, but also for sponsorships from companies who are willing to take a part of their profits, perhaps, and help us out, because we hope to diffuse the technology and build better markets for using it out there. And there's also the possibility of other charitable donations, since we're a 501c3. In the end, what we'd like to have is a subscription capability too, where content is being delivered, especially for these learning living rooms. And that'll be a different a schedule of funding. Okay, what can you do? If you haven't joined yet, you need to join the Virtual World Society. It's $3 a month, and for that you get a bunch of benefits that you'll find from the website. But you can become an ambassador for the Virtual World Society wherever you are in the world to promote this good use of the technology and organize affiliate units or organizations wherever you are. Become a sponsor if you're a company, and nominate people for these next prizes and medallions so that they can be recognized for the good work they're doing. Contribute to various things to our learning portal, including content that can be showcased and so forth like that. Work with our network of pioneers, and we will work with you to help with what you're trying to do, because that's really, in my case, what I really want to be doing now in this time in my life. So if you haven't been to the reality stream, take a look at this at booth number 10. Visit there. It's a nice place to hang out, and you'll be able to visit with the Virtual World Society members there. Also in booth 405. Be sure to visit that as well. And so thank you for this time and for being here and attending this particular session. And welcome to this new age, and hopefully we'll be there in the long term as the Virtual World Society. By the way, the Virtual World Society is the National Geographic of VR. It is the Peace Corps of VR. It is the public broadcasting system for VR. So think about those metaphors, as that's what we're trying to become. Thank you. Okay.